Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Ticket to the Hizzy Fantasy Hockey TITTH number 192. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got my co-host, my brother, Nick Olzak with us. How are we doing, sir?
Happy good. Yep, happy hump day. Doing good. Looking like there's some good matchups going on tonight, so I'm ready to talk some hockey.
Yep. We got a couple of games off to start already. I got Detroit and the Capitals on here. I'll be having the Blackhawks game on here soon once they come on. Things aren't looking so great for the Hawks, pal. How you doing over there? How you taking cover in the storm?
Well, the storm is huge, but the storm can't last forever. So you're hoping eventually there's going to be an upside out of this.
Is there?
Stan Bowman gone. Different change of scenery. Maybe something changes out of here, but it's hard to find a positive in the situation right now. Obviously, it's great Stan Bowman's gone, but our team is just terrible right now. 5-1. Marc-Andre Fleury not really living up to that Vezina performance that he had last year. Our defense not doing the greatest job in front of him. And our offense simply just can't score goals. You'd think Patrick Kane would have more than one goal right now, and Dominic Kubalik wouldn't be leading the team in goals. Jonathan Toews is off to a slow start. Even a guy like Alex DeBrincat, who was at the top of the league last year, having a slow start. But you got to have a sense of hope right now because it is the beginning of the season. And we're not the only team that's at the bottom of the league that shouldn't be at the bottom of the league, I think.
There's only one other team as low as us, and that's Arizona, and that's probably where they should be.
But nonetheless, there's a lot of teams that are right around the bottom of the league, like the Vegas Golden Knights right there. They're a team that people have higher expectations for, but you just have to hope it's the beginning of the year and we can bounce back from this. That's all we can hope for at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if Arizona has led a second of the season, but I sure would like to at some point. Chicago, I would sure like to have a lead for, just like a period, half a period, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had a lead all season so far. Team looks bad, constantly giving up the blue line. Ton of space available, can speed right by everybody. It's embarrassing, man. I want Colleton gone, so hopefully, Bowman's the first domino there. We'll get into it more so once we get into this preview here. Let's start off with our best props for tonight, and then we'll actually get into some of our other props, Monkey Knife Fight, and get into these game previews because I do know that the Hawks game is going to be starting here soon. So let's clock in and get it going. I got Jesse Puljujarvi of the Oilers to get at least 1 point this evening. 1 point this evening, excuse me. He has 8 points in 5 games, 2 goals and 6 assists. So even has an assist at least in each game so far. A lot of upside to hit that prop playing on that first line with McDavid and Hyman. So really like the opportunity for Puljujarvi this evening. Who do you got, Nick?
I got Joel Farabee for an anytime goal tonight. Last week, not a lot of games, so we talked a lot about the Bruins and the Flyers, and we talked about that Flyers second line of Atkinson, Farabee, and Brassard, and how they've been doing a lot. And I think fantasy-wise, he's still been doing really good, and he's been getting points, scoring goals. So I think it's pretty likely that he'll be able to bury one. Even though they're playing a really stout Edmonton team who is 5-0, I still think he has a chance to bury one. And the odds are in his favor, too. It's 225, I think. So I like that for sure.
All right, cool. I expect some scoring in that game. I expect that game to go to the over. So I like the opportunity there for Farabee. All right, let's jump into our Monkey Knife Fight props. First up here, we have the first game that we're covering, going to be the Blackhawks and the Maple Leafs. We're looking at goaltender saves. So Kevin Lankinen getting the start for the Blackhawks tonight. He's at 27.5 saves. And then we have Jack Campbell across from him at 26.5. Honestly, I like the under for both of these. I expect both teams to get around 25 to 30 shots on net. I don't think the Blackhawks are going to be, keeping up their end of the bargain this evening. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that Maple Leafs lineup offense, whether you're looking at DFS stacks, props, fantasy, whatever it is. Fire up all your Maple Leafs tonight. And I'm going to take the under for Campbell as well. I don't think that the Hawks are going to get a ton of scoring chances. And Campbell himself, he hasn't had the most amazing start to the season. I would know. I got him in fantasy, and I'm constantly looking at negative numbers. It's driving me nuts. So I'm going to take the under for both of these. What do you think about these guys and their numbers tonight?
Yeah, I think it's just solely going to depend on the Blackhawks defense for Lankinen because they have struggled when they were playing in front of Fleury. So for that reason, I think I'm going to take the over. I see guys like Matthews, Tavares, and Marner getting those key shots and getting a lot of them. And I think, they'll have about 29, 30 shots on Lankinen. As for Campbell, I think I'm going to go with the under because, like I just talked about, this Blackhawks offense isn't rolling right now, so I don't expect a large quantity of shots. So for that reason, I'm going under on that.
Yeah, and it's really hard when you look at the numbers too, just because we have no Kane and we have no Taves tonight, right? A good portion of the lineup's going to be missing. So yeah, I'm going to take the under for both of those. All right, next up we have fantasy points matchup between Shea Theodore and Alexander Radulov, and that Golden Knights and Stars game kicking off second in our lineup. So both players are getting 4.5 fantasy points. I don't like the overs for these at all. Both of these players have just 1 assist through 6 games. They're both negative. Radulov's a -3. Theodore's a -4. There's not really a lot of upside here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think same thing. Theodore, not a lot of production out of him. And Radulov, don't even get me started on him. I've been trying to hold him out on fantasy, just waiting for him to just break out, but it's not happening. Like, he doesn't do something tonight, he's out. And so
I mean, he's got to be. I mean, there's so many better options out there right now that are, putting up, nightly production, consistently.
And yeah, we'll get to that in a minute later in the show. But I think that Radulov's numbers just are really poor right now. And even you'd think he's playing next to a guy like Tyler Seguin, and Tyler Seguin isn't doing anything either. I think he's got like 1 goal through the whole season. But yeah, that Stars, that line of Ben, Seguin, Radulov, like, they're just not getting it done. And for that reason, I'm going to go the under on that one.
Yeah, I like the under for both of those. Like I said, they just haven't really had consistent output just yet. Even Theodore, like, who is more offensively inclined as a defenseman, not getting as many pucks to the net. He's a -4. I know his partner Alec Martinez is constantly in and out of the lineup so far, so I don't know if that's playing a role. But yeah, I'm going to take the under for both of those guys. Not showing me enough so far. All right, next up we've got Drysidle versus Sean Couturier for the Flyers and Oilers game later this evening, last game on the night. We've got Drysidle at 6.5 fantasy points, and we have the over-under for Couturier at 4.5. I like the over for Drysidle and the under for Big Sean. What do you think here?
Yeah, I like that too. Drysidle, have him on the fantasy team. He's been clicking really well. And like you said, it's going to be a high-scoring game, but it's probably going to go more towards the Edmonton Oilers' favors just because they have the hot hand. And yeah, I just don't see Couturier hitting this number because I don't think he has been hitting his number consistently.
No, he's got a goal and 4 assists through, I believe, 5 games and just 9 shots on net. So he's going to have to score. He's going to have to get a goal in the net. I'm going to take Leon. He's 4-7, 4 goals, 7 assists, and 17 shots through 5 games. I believe they're 5-0 straight up. So yeah, give me Drysidle on the over and give me Couturier on the under. Just a little bit less upside. Big Sean going up against that big front line for Edmonton as well. Hyman, McDavid, and don't say it. Don't say it. It's going to drive me nuts. I have him on my list. Who's the other forward on that line?
Hyman, McDavid.
We got to talk about him later.
Because I'm blanking on him too. Hyman, McDavid, and Puljujärvi.
Puljujärvi, duh. That's who we are. We already did mention him. That's what it is. There you go. All right, so let's jump into our game previews now. We got Toronto and Chicago probably starting at this point. May have already started, actually, but just going to go through a quick preview here because I don't think it's going to take very long. I'm taking the Maple Leafs on the money line. They're getting -208 road favorites, -1.5 on the puck line. Over-under for this game is at 6 goals even. I hate that number. 83% of the public is coming in on Toronto, 63% to the over as well. What do you like here, Nick? I'm taking the Maple Leafs money line and staying away from everything else, trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, I agree with that too because it's hard to tell what Toronto is going to do because they're also not off to the hottest start. I think they're like 2-4-1 or something, like towards the bottom of their division, but they're still a talented hockey team. But with Chicago, there's no upside whatsoever. It's kind of like what we talked about. They haven't had a lead in the game. Their goaltending's been inconsistent. Their defense can't protect their goaltending. So yeah, Maple Leafs money line all day, just because there's no upside for the Blackhawks whatsoever going in this contest.
And I'm not buying this nonsense like, oh, it's not the coach, it's everything else. Like, it's not the locker room, it's not the atmosphere. Like, no, like, stop all this. Like, every one of these guys keeps going to bat for Jeremy Colleton for I don't know what reason other than just like playing like the good player, good teammate role, whatever it is, like trying not to make any noise out of a really bad situation, what it already is, right? I guess we don't need any more, black eyes on our franchise right now, but I'm just not buying that. I still think he's got to go. Hopefully tonight, big blowout. I've seen Joel Quenneville, Hall of Fame coach, fired for much, much less. So please continue to show the accountability, Chicago. You got rid of one bad domino. Let's roll with the next. All right. All right. Next game up here, we got the Vegas Golden Knights coming into Dallas as road dogs, plus 1.5 on the puck line, plus 153 on the money line. Over under is at 5.5 goals. The public has 59% on the money line for Dallas and 59% to go to the over. I do not like the over. I love the under 5.5 goals, and I love Vegas to cover the plus 1.5. What do you like in the spread here, Nick?
Yeah, I also like Vegas to cover the plus 1.5 because it is going to be a close game. I think both of these teams coming in pretty even with each other, so it's really hard to tell. And total wise, yeah, I would have to also go with the under there. I think it's not going to be a lot of scoring necessarily. I think you'll be looking at, like a 3-2 game.
Dallas is 6-0 to the under, 0-6 to the over. So, yeah, plenty of upside there. They have only scored more than 2 goals in just 2 games, and Vegas has done so 3 times. They are 3-3 to the over. So they have a couple of games with 3 goals, 1 game with 4. It was versus the Kraken, so take that with whatever grain of salt you want, right? But I do like Vegas to cover, and I will take the under as well. I honestly like those numbers with the totals. Really, is what bought me into Vegas covering. They're only 1-5 ATS. Dallas is 2-4. I don't trust their offense to put up a lot of goals, to score a lot, and realistically, they're just kind of a one-dimensional team. They just really stick heavy to protecting their own end, and it's fine. I mean, hey, they got wins. I can't say the same for my team. So,
obviously.
Whatever works for you. Keep it going, Dallas. But I do like Dallas to win. I think they look a little bit better lineup-wise in comparison to Vegas. Vegas is going to be missing a couple of guys. Alec Martinez, we're not sure if he's going to be in the lineup. They've got their backup goalie, Brosseau. Is that how you pronounce it? Brosseau, French, whatever. Didn't major in French. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit less upside for them to take home the clean win on the plus money. So I like them to cover, keep it close. They score more. Dallas keeps scores low. So I like the under, and I like Vegas to cover. All right, lastly here we have is the Flyers traveling to Edmonton. Flyers coming in as road dogs, plus 1.5 on the puck line, plus 177 on the money line. And the over-under for this game is at 6.5 goals. 81% of the public is in on Edmonton to win this game outright, and 75% of the public are going to the over. I think I really like the over as well, but that 75% kind of scares me. I think you read between the lines a little bit too much, like, oh, this team's scoring a lot, this team's scoring a lot. They can't just have a grinded out type of game. What do you like in this spread of options here?
I mean, I would normally like to take the over because you see the big names, but I think I got to go the under at the plus 119 because I do think that the Flyers also do have a really good defense, kind of like what we talked about last week, how they've built that up really nicely. And I think that, I think this will be a game that they're going to have to battle it out against a gritty Edmonton team, Flyers team, who have been doing really well so far. And while Edmonton's undefeated, I think if you can find a way to shut down Connor and Leon, then I think that they have a good chance tonight. And so I'm not going to take money line on these guys, but I would like to take the under.
Okay. All right. I can see that. I like the plus option on the under, and I can sympathize with that. Like I said, you have 2 really competitive hockey teams. The scoring is not just going to go to the same narrative or storyline from their previous matchup. So I like the Flyers to cover in this one. That's my best pick. I kind of like the Flyers to upset just because they're a grittier team, a deeper team. Edmonton's really good, but they don't really get, or so far they haven't gotten a lot of those matchups of like gritty 2-way hockey, which I think the Flyers have a lot of, especially on defense. I know Ristolainen is like I don't know what gift he sent Seth Jones in the mail or for his birthday or for Christmas or whatever, but Ristolainen had like the worst Corsi score on the season until Seth Jones' last game. So that was fun. Ristolainen not the worst analytical play so far this season. Seth Jones coming in clutch for him there. All right, let's move on. We're going to jump into our fantasy waiver wire. So first up, another one I don't know how to pronounce, Nick. Maybe you can help me out with this. Is it Mangiapane?
Mangiapane.
Mangiapane? Is he
Yeah.
Italian?
Something like that.
Is he Italian? All right. Mangiapane for the Calgary Flames. He's on fire. He's on fire. Muy frio. All right. Last 2 games, 4 goals. Last 4 games, 6 goals. He has no assists so far this season. This is all he's doing is just putting up shots on net, and they're all going in. So his last 3 games, 3 shots, 2 shots. On goals now, 2, 2, and 1. Like, the volume isn't there, but they're just getting into the back of the net. I mean, only 40% rostered on Yahoo. Is this enough to get it done for you?
Oh, this is definitely enough to get it done. He is like right up there in the top of the league. So I don't understand how he's only 40% rostered, because I saw a thing he was like number 3 in goals behind, I think, Lindholm and like Ovechkin or something like
He's
that.
got no assists.
Yeah, it's just nuts. And I think that you're lucky to have this guy in your team, that's for sure.
Wow,
but I think for anyone else out there that's looking for a quick ad, someone that can probably stay in the lineup for a while, this is your guy right here. Just the production's there, so there's no reason not to snag him.
Well, the only reason I would say not to is that he plays on the third line. He doesn't play with the best teammates. He's got Dylan Dube and Brett Ritchie. So he's the guy. Like, on that line, he's doing all the scoring. But at some point, I have to figure out or believe that the Flames are going to, flutter out. All right, next up we have Lucas Raymond of the Detroit Red Wings, coming off a huge game up against Chicago. Stinker for us. Had a hat trick and an assist. That puts him up to 4, 5, 6, 7 points through 5 games so far. I like it, but it's been kind of inconsistent. Is this someone that you're ready to roster immediately, or kind of wait and see on still?
I'd want to wait and see on this guy. I think that game against Chicago, if you take that out of the equation, then it's not all that really, because you look at a team like Chicago too, and right now the way they're playing, it's not that hard to bury a couple against them, and that's what he did with 3 goals and an assist in that game. But I think he's having a couple good games, but this guy just not someone I would roster right away. His ice time also isn't there. He's had a couple games where he's only played like 13 minutes, 14 minutes barely. So I would want to hold off and see some more consistency out of him before I would want to roster him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Definitely someone that I'm willing to, throw in my lineup for a night. If you've got daily rosters, this is definitely someone that you want to just pop in there in a given opportunity, just because he's a first line player playing with Dylan Larkin, playing with Tyler Bertuzzi on that first line. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity. And honestly, Detroit, I'm really not disappointed in them. They've got 3 wins so far, 3-3.
Yeah.
I really can't complain, and they've covered in all those wins. So making some money. They're profitable. Fire up some Lucas Raymond. I'm trying to find this Blackhawks game on the app, and the Blackhawks are up 1-0.
What is this?
This is bullshit.
They have a lead that.
I guess Toronto's just that bad. Like, I mean, can you? Oh, Taves is in the lineup. Okay, cool. Well, that's just like, different. What the hell? Everywhere listed as out. Everywhere listed as out. I turn on the game. Oh, there he is. There he is. No problem. No big deal.
You know who buried for the Hawks?
What's that?
You know who scored the goal for the Hawks or no?
No, I don't.
That's just funny how we're not even gonna talk about that.
Yeah, moving on. Drake Batherson, bastards. All right. Drake's been doing well. Also, another player coming off a hat trick, scored 3 goals up against Washington. That game was crazy. They were down 4-1, came back, tied it up, wound up losing 7-5. That was very enjoyable to watch, but he's positive in every game so far. So yeah, last game he had the big, blow up spot, had the hat trick. But 3.5 points the game before, 9.8, 1.8, 7.9, 3.6. Is this enough to get him on your roster, or just another kind of like dink and dunk, just plug him and play him when you can?
Yeah, he's definitely a dink and dunk right now. I think he's got a couple good games in here, but he's got that 29-point game in fantasy, which is huge, with 3 goals and an assist. So he is a dink and dunk until you see more consistency, a few more goals here and there. And I also wanted to point out, too, that goal came from Kirby Dach.
Go away, Kirby.
Assisted by Seth Jones.
It's Colleton's favorite player right now. He's trying to keep me in my job, that fucking kid, I swear. We want him fired. We want to lose games tonight. Come on. You're killing me.
We want him out.
All right.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, it sucks. All right. Next up, we got Craig Anderson for the Buffalo Sabres. Kind of a tough spot, but Buffalo, they're actually 4-2, and he has 3 of their wins. Ready to roster him? And Craig Anderson, I don't even know how this guy's still in the league.
Yeah, I really don't know how he's still in the league. He's 38, 39 years old. And Buffalo, I think, is just shocking everyone right now, including me. Like, I would not think that they would have come out to this hot of a start, let alone Craig Anderson and Dustin Tokarski being their goalies. Like, come on. Like, they even beat Tampa, 5-1? Like, that never happens in today's game anymore. And it's something cool to see. And I think, yeah, you just kind of roster him right now until he falls, because in those fantasy leagues, those goalie points are always really huge for you. And I think if you can get a goalie that's going to be able to play every night and be in close games and win a lot of those games, and yeah, I'd roster him right now.
I just saw the Doc goal. It was just pure garbage. Like it was just like a swing and a fluttering puck. Like you could see it like rolling, and then it tips the glove of Campbell and just right in. Man, yeah. I've taken shit slower than that. My goodness. Campbell, yeah, or I'm sorry, not Campbell. Anderson, yeah, I'll get him on my roster, but he's not somebody that's going to stick around. Like I'm going to pick him up and I'm going to drop him. Like I love the 3 wins in 4 appearances. The only game that he's lost so far was against the Bruins. They lost 4-1, and he gave up 3 goals, only 22 saves, so that's only 25 shots. I mean, you're going to get some matchups when he's just the right guy. Like this next couple of games they have: Anaheim, the Kings, San Jose, Seattle, Detroit. Like these are great matchups, and I would actually own him through this period, but I just don't think it's going to be something that lasts. He's only 16% rostered, so definitely hang on to him for now, but this is somebody that you're going to be dropping at some point for certain. All right, next up, Zach Kassian for the Edmonton Oilers. Really solid production so far. He's a point-per-game player right now. So 4.9 points his last game, 6 points the game prior to that, 18.7 3 games ago, and 4 points just 4 games ago. 1 goal, an assist, and then 2 goals and an assist in those games. Like he's been looking really good. I believe he's playing on the second line?
Third line.
Okay, third line, second power play is what I have.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was on that. Okay.
He's on that line with Fogle and Derek Ryan.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. That's what I'm thinking. But he is on the second power play line, so there is a little bit of extra upside there. But I mean, he's contributing, and a team that's playing really hot right now. I think, honestly, I think this is a guy that I want to get on my team and just keep him. Just let him sit on the bench on some off nights. Point per game. What's not to like?
Yeah, exactly. I think Kassian can be a good pickup. And one thing I like to point out too is throughout last year, he was a guy that can move up throughout the lineup, and you'd see him playing on a line with McDavid at times, and and he can play anywhere in the lineup. His ice time is kind of low right now. Looking at it, he's got some games where he's only got 12 minutes or whatever, but he is playing on the third line and he's got production. So he's a guy I would hold, like you said, get him in when he's playing, put someone you can sit on the bench when he's not playing, or when there is a game, you got to pick someone. And yeah, I think he's a viable option right now for some points.
Yeah, I would definitely go and pick him up. Like I said, throw him on the bench and leave him there. Don't have to worry about it. He's going to be giving you solid production. And only 23% rostered, so you could probably still go out and get him for tonight's game. That game has not started yet.
I should do that.
You should do that. All right, next up, we've got Andrew Kopp for the Winnipeg Jets. He's centering that second line, looking really good. Only 34% rostered on Yahoo leagues right now. Scoring a lot. A goal in his last game. We'll just call it 4 goals through the first 6 games, 4 assists across the same time period. Constantly a positive player on the ice. He was -1 his first game, but since then he's been always above negative. So 2, 1, 2, 0, and 3 in his last 5 games. He's getting shots on net. He can play center. He can play wing. They use him on the power play, second line. Like there's a lot to like about Kopp right now.
Yeah, and I think like I keep talking about, is the ice time. He's playing minus the first game. He's played 20 minutes or more every game, and that's always a big thing when you're on a team that's on a winning streak right now, like Winnipeg, because they started out in kind of a struggle, but they've since picked it back up. And he's also getting shots too, like just looking at it, last game, 6 shots, 2 shots, 3 shots, 3 shots. So he's shooting the puck and getting those points. So some of those pucks are going to be bound to go in. And yeah, my only 2 out of these games that have been, where he hasn't had a goal, not like the hottest, but outside of that, he's doing really well. And yeah, he is a guy that I would add for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely go out and get him. Only 34% rostered right now. But like you said, Nick, that playing time is so crucial. Over 20 minutes in every game since the first game. He had 18 minutes and 35 seconds of playing time in that first game, finished as a -1, no goals, no assists. But since then, getting even more playing time, and the production has been there. Absolutely a guy to own and to keep on your team, not just to add and drop. Go out there and get Andrew Kopp for the Winnipeg Jets. All right, next up we have Victor Olofsson for the Buffalo Sabres. Another deep dive into the dumps of the league. Well, not really. They're 4-2, but Victor Olofsson, 2 goals in his last game. The goals have kind of come sparingly, like 2 goals his last game, like I said, no goals the game before that, then a goal, then 2 games without, and then a goal in his first game. But the points are there, so since game 1, 19.5, 2.7, 7.6, 8.9, had that 0.9 game, but then a 17-point game in his last game. There's a lot of production here, Nick. The minutes aren't as high as Kopp, like we were just talking about, 16, 17, 17, 15, 21, 15. But I feel like this is enough. Like, I feel like the production is there. Does being on the Buffalo Sabres scare you? Should you be worried about going forward? Or is this someone to just, go out and get him right now?
I would just get him right now and just hold him until he falls off, because we don't know what's going to happen with the Buffalo Sabres. Sure, they're hot right now, but they're the Buffalo Sabres, so they're bound to fall off. And I think if Victor Olofsson's doing hot on this team, then you just roll with him.
We're up 2-0.
Who scored?
DeBrincat on a breakaway. The first time I bet against the Hawks all year, they're going to win. Like, I should have known it. I should have known. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to bet against your favorite team? Team that put you to bed as a child? They're going to throw it in your face. That's gambling.
Jokes.
That's how it goes. Don't bet against your own teams. All right, last one up here. Ivan Barbashev for the St. Louis Blues. Awesome name, Barbashev. Fantastic stuff. 9% rostered. Dude is cleaning up. He has a point in every game so far, at least a goal or at least assist in each game through 5 games. Blues are 5-0. They're doing nothing but making me money. I hate absolutely every bit of it, but I have made money on 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row. 4 games in a row on the Blues. Took the under in their last game. Took a money line win the game before that. Took a cover up against Vegas and took a money line win up against Arizona. Just making me bunches of money. The Blackhawks, what do they want to do? They want to piss me off. They want to upset me, and then I bet against them, and then they want to lose me money.
Way she goes.
Right, I'm practically a Blues fan. Jesus, I'm just kidding. I have all my teeth still, so far. All right, what do you think about Barbashev? I mean, and the Blues in general, like, they're 5-0. They're crushing it right now. They're scoring. They've scored 7 goals twice so far this season.
Yeah, the Blues are just rolling with it right now. And Barbashev, he's getting a point in every game, so there's no reason to not pick him up. He's only 9% rostered, but in the last day, that number is up 8%. So if you don't get him soon, you might lose out on him, because it looks like a lot of these leagues are starting to pick him up. So I would get him right away and get him on the team and get him in some games. And if he gives you production, you keep him. Simple as that. But I think that production is going to stay for a while, as long as the St. Louis team keeps going hot. Because in the schedule, they've got Colorado, who's been a little bit slow to start. Then you got Chicago, LA, San Jose, Anaheim. Like, there's room for this guy to produce against some of these teams. So I would get him and I'd hold on to him.
They put up a 5 spot on Colorado already in their first game. Like,
yeah.
They haven't scored less than 3 goals in any game so far.
Mm-hmm.
They're just crushing it right now. Playing time is there. He's got at least 15 plus in just about every game, at least a goal and an assist in every game. He's never been negative. He's getting shots on net, a couple of blocks. There's a lot to like about Barbashev. Playing on the same line as Tarasenko on the third line. How they're running Rob Thomas, Tarasenko, and Barbashev on the third line, I don't know. That's just crazy. They are super deep this year. Super deep.
Absurd.
All right, let's move on to our last segment of the night. We are doing some buy and sell for some early standout players. So first up, we've got Anza Kopitar, who is number 9 in fantasy hockey right now in total production. He's tailed off the last couple of games here, but his first 4 games he had, 6 goals in 4 games and 3 assists across that same spread. I mean, they've cooled down a little bit. We just got done talking about them playing back-to-back games with the Blues. Is this someone that you would prefer to go out and trade for, or someone that you would prefer to trade and sell high?
I would want to trade him and sell high, because you're already seeing his numbers are going to fall off a little bit the last couple games. But right now, he is hot. That is for sure. First game against the Golden Knights, 43 points. Like, you never see those kind of numbers, let alone out of a guy like Anza Kopitar. Like, I've seen those numbers out of like a McDavid and Drysidle, but Anza Kopitar at his age putting up these numbers is saying something that he can still play on this team, because a lot of people are thinking, oh, Doughty and Kopitar, they're getting older. They need to move them out. And I think Kopitar right now is just kind of shoving that in the haters' faces, just producing and producing and producing. And so, yeah, if you can sell him, I would sell him high, because, yeah, I don't think this is going to last forever. But if you have him on your team, then you just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say to sell him. So if you have him, I would want to get a nice little return. I'm not betting on it lasting forever here. You had mentioned the schedule coming up: Winnipeg, Montreal, Buffalo. That's pretty solid. They're going to have St. Louis again soon, but I don't see him as a top 10 fantasy player all year long. So I would be really willing to sell eagerly. Like, I would be trying to get rid of him before he puts a handful of these bad games together, and the value just kind of shoots down, and people call it, week one flash in the pan, and that's it, right?
Right.
All right. So next up, we got Timo Meyer for the San Jose Sharks. He is on a roll right now. A goal in 3 consecutive games and 4 goals through 6 games so far. I believe he is number 7 or 8 on the year in total fantasy production. 11.6, 8.7, 19.8, 8.7, 26.3, and 12.2 through his game so far. He's definitely a sell candidate for me as well, just because he plays for the Sharks, and they're another team that I'm just not betting on to have this continued overall success. What do you think about him?
I think, I would sell him, but I would actually wait a little while, because he's got a favorable schedule. You got Montreal, Winnipeg, Buffalo, and for the next 3 games. And I think there's room for him to produce in there, but I think eventually they're going to hit a rough patch in the schedule and he's going to fall off. So I think if you can sell him now and get a high return, then I think that would be the best bet.
All right. Fair enough. Next guy up we have here is Roman Yossi. Buy or sell Roman Yossi is a top 5 defenseman this year. Right now he is number 2.
Roman Yossi, I would definitely want to be buying Roman Yossi right now, because he's always been a reliable defenseman. I've had him on my fantasy team, I think last year and the year before that. Always super reliable, always leads my defense in points. And he plays a lot of minutes, producing a lot of points. His lowest game this year, he only had 3 points, but that was a game where he played 28 minutes. So this guy is going to be on the ice, and he's going to be on the ice a lot. And I think in any fantasy league, you have someone that's on the ice a lot, they're going to do something and get a point, whether it's for blocking a shot, scoring, assisting, a plus, or whatever. And I think with that ice time, that's someone I would want to buy. And he's also getting a lot of goals here, or a couple goals here and there, some assists. So, yeah, he's a guy that I would want to buy for my team.
Well, if you want to go out and buy him for your fantasy team, he's going to cost a pretty penny. But if there is a defenseman out there, like if you're really hurting, like everybody's hurt, maybe similar to my team, he would be a guy that you'd want to go out and buy, because he's going to be in that top 5 conversation all year. And I do buy him as that. Like, he's going to be a top 5 defenseman in fantasy all season long. He's not a flash in the pan right now. He's the real deal, and we've seen him do it before. Like, I think he's finished as the top defenseman in fantasy a few times actually. So yeah, definitely someone that I would go out and target if you're really hurting for a defenseman. All right, next up we have Kyle Connor, another Winnipeg Jet, on an absolute tear right now. Last 4 games, 6.7, 20.5, 28.4, 23.6. Is this dude playing fantasy football or fantasy hockey? My God. So that's what? 5 goals in the last 3 or 4 games, and 4 assists across that time frame. You ready to buy? Ready to empty the bag?
Yeah, I would want to get some Kyle Connor stock going. He's playing on the first line with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Evgeny Svechnikov. And I think that, there's a lot of upside to this guy right now. Obviously, his point production's there. His ice time, he's getting a good amount of ice time. And, he's a guy that's just going to get a lot of minutes, and I think he can produce. And Winnipeg has a reputation for being a good team. And, hype me up on some Kyle Connor.
Yeah, I'll take Kyle Connor all day. He is literally all of their offense. He's putting up fantasy goalie numbers. It's ridiculous. Obviously, these numbers are going to cool off a little bit, but I mean, the dude is just playing electric right now. He's playing out of his mind. So if you're looking to target somebody in a trade right now, Kyle Connor would be the guy. somebody that's is not a Winnipeg Jet fan, maybe, that owns him. I don't know. All right. Next up, we have one of the top goalies in the league, if not the top goalie, Elias Sorkin. I'm sorry, Sorokin. Sorokin coming off back-to-back wins, 3 wins out of his last 4 outings. He's been looking amazing. He did start off really cold to the year, allowing 5 goals in back-to-back games, but he has cleaned it up since. Maybe it's just the opponents. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, he has a huge win up against Chicago, huge win up against Arizona, Vegas. You're kind of seeing the trend here.
Yeah, well, I rostered him last week it was last week when he was playing in Chicago, and I just got him as someone to get for an extra game, and he had that big win where he had 39 saves, and then I dropped him after that, and that was a big mistake, let me tell you, because you look at his numbers, he had a 35-point night, 25 points, 8 points, so this guy is there, and I don't know how much longer Varlamov's out for, but when he does come back too, it's going to be a struggle for him to get that starting job back if Sorokin's putting up numbers like these, and if he is, he's going to stay in the net. So yeah, he is someone for sure that you would grab right now. I think if he keeps it up with this pace, then he can be one of the top goalies in the league. His opponents are pretty favorable. You've got Nashville, Montreal, Winnipeg, Minnesota, and New Jersey, and those are all teams that I think the Islanders can beat, and if not, be in a close game. And so yeah, Elias Sorokin, I think is a good choice for any fantasy team for that matter.
Yeah, I'd like them to win all those games, actually, minus maybe Minnesota. I think that would probably be the closest one there. So obviously he's not going to play in every one of those games. He's going to get some off nights for sure. But yeah, I mean, even if Varlamov comes back, I mean, do you see Sorokin being in like that top 5 conversation? I mean, even if they split work, you can still you can still earn the Vezina, splitting work these days. I mean, we saw Fleury do it last year with Leonard. So, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's possible. This year, obviously, is a big step up for Sorokin. Last year was his rookie year. This year's his sophomore season. And so being able to come into the league in your second year and do this well early on says a lot. But the question is if he can keep this up and the Islanders can play a good game in front of him, then, yeah, I think top 5 consideration will be something that Sorokin can look for. But, yeah, I really like what he's doing right now, and I hope he can do more of that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the path is wide open for him. Like, I don't see like many goalies in the league right now just putting up like stellar performances. Even the teams that are undefeated, like the Oilers and the Blues, like, their goalies are splitting time, and we saw Mike Smith even get hurt. So right now it's pretty wide open, and I think Sorokin's going to stay up in that conversation.
Indeed.
All right, last one up here is Elvis Merzlikins. Elvis Merzlikins for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hasn't lost a game yet. He is 4-0. He's 4-0. He hasn't allowed more than 2 goals in any one game, and he has 30 plus saves, in 3 of his 4 starts. This is a buy candidate if I've ever seen it, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's a buy candidate for sure, and he's like on a team like Columbus where you didn't think right away that they were going to come out and have success, let alone Merzlikins have all of the success, but he is having success. And the last couple of games he's seen 30 shots, and like we said, 3 of the 4. He's seen 30 shots or more. So this guy is proving that he can steal a game for his team. And yeah, I think in the early going that he can be a good starter. And they have a decently tough schedule. They got Colorado a couple times, the Rangers, Devils, Capitals. So I think that if he can hold up against those teams, I think he can be a good starter just based on the competition that he's playing. Because in a couple of his wins, he's got Seattle and Arizona.
Right.
But yeah, I think if he can keep it up against these hot teams, then yeah, I could see him being a starter down the stretch.
And I don't think it's going to cost you a lot in fantasy either. Like, I don't think the the exchange or whatever you're going to have to give up is going to be that much. He doesn't have like a track record of just being like an amazing goaltender. So I feel like you'll be able to get somebody to sing a song for him if he's just not outright available off the waiver wire. So either go out and pick him up off of waivers, or trade something for him to get him on your team if you're really hurting for goalie. Like,
right.
I own him because I'm really hurting for goalie. All right, next up, we're going to do some live bets before we head out here. Getting an update from the Panthers and Bruins game. Panthers are up right now 2-1. Looks like there's 16:54 left in the second, so they just started the second period. Panthers looking good here with a lead. Bruins right now laying plus 235 on the money line. Panthers minus 310. Let's see. Bruins to cover the point spread of plus 1.5 is paying minus 141 right now. What do you like here? You like the Bruins to come back, Bruins to cover, Panthers to create separation, win by 2? What are we thinking?
Yeah, I like the Bruins to cover because I think this will still be a close game. Again, you have two good teams. Even though Florida is undefeated, the Bruins are still a talented hockey team. And yeah, I think this will be a close game.
I don't know. I think I'm going to take the Panthers to outright win. I mean, that's easy. That's the minus 310. But I think they're going to cover the minus 1.5. They were tied going into this period, and they've already put up a goal. So looks like the scoring is continuing for them. Like you said, they haven't lost yet. So give me a big win for the Panthers at home. Give me 4-2 victory. Give me 4-2. They cover the minus 1.5.
Fair enough.
What do you like you like the total over 6.5 goals?
Yeah, I could see that. I like that total, and I could actually see that going under. Yeah, like you said, a 4-2 game, 3-2 game. I could see it going that way.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the under as well. I like that 4-2. Either direction, really. Maybe if the Bruins want to come back.
Right.
All right, we got next game up here. We got the Capitals and the Red Wings. Capitals up big, 2-0 right now. Wow, plus 11.25 for the Red Wings to haul a money line comeback. Capitals laying minus 2,222. That's a very odd number. All right, point spread is at plus 2.5 goals. So, can the Red Wings hold a 3-goal gap here? I kind of like that number, plus 2.5.
Yeah, I like that number. Yeah, I'd have to see the pace of the game at the moment, but yeah, I like that number for the Capitals. I think I think they'll be able to keep it on the gas and get a win.
I think I'm going to take the Red Wings to cover the plus 2.5. I think they keep it within 3, so I'm going to take them to cover the plus 2.5. They'll lose by 2. They've been not bad so far. The Red Wings made me some money. Haven't lost me any money yet, so I can't complain about them.
Yeah, but the Capitals are also doing really well right now. I don't think they've lost in regulation yet. So it is really hard to tell. You have a young team that has some talent, that is doing well, but then you have a team like the Capitals that is just going through, winning games, haven't lost in regulation, like I said. So it's hard to tell, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we got the last one up here. We got the Blackhawks up 2-0. This is the sound of me not making money this evening. Thank you, Chicago. Appreciate that. Up 2-0, 23 seconds left in the first. Looks like we're going to go to break with a 2-goal lead. 11 shots for Chicago, 10 shots for Toronto for anyone that cares. And right now, Toronto is getting the plus 1.5 at minus 135. Blackhawks to outright win is at minus 321. Do you like the Maple Leafs to haul a comeback? They're at plus 240.
I would love the Maple Leafs to get a comeback right now. I think it's possible. I think we all want to say that, but yeah, knowing the Blackhawks right now, knowing their reputation, I think they can blow this really easily. I think if they do lose, they could go to overtime, but I want the Maple Leafs to come back because I think we all speak for each other. We want Jeremy Colleton out, and I think the more we lose, the more we tank, the worse it's going to make him look. And I also wanted to point it out, too, that Seth Jones, Mr. Bottom of the Corsi, got another assist on that goal.
Great. Fantastic. Oh, it's just all coming together now. Just all coming together. Do you know that if we finish anywhere other than first or second, we will lose our pick for that Seth Jones trade as well? So if we get the third pick in this year's draft, goes to Columbus.
Yeah. Just the overpayment of that was just insane. Just how much we gave up. Adam Boquist and all those picks for a guy who they were like, yeah, this guy's going to be a Norris candidate up there. We're going to pay him $9 million. Kane and Tays numbers for that matter. When I think he's more of like a $5-6 million defenseman. He's good, but I don't think
that's definitely a more fair number for sure.
Because like you look at some of the best defensemen in the league, like Adam Fox, Cale Makar, Victor Hedman, and you just don't see Seth Jones in that conversation.
You don't
at all.
You don't see Seth Jones in that conversation. And I mean, my biggest issue with that whole situation is that Columbus was never going to pay him that money. He's still on his last year of his contract from Columbus. We gave him that extension when he got here. We had all the leverage. We gave up everything. And what we should have done was said, okay, cool. Welcome to Chicago. Hope you like it here. Sometimes it's warm. Sometimes it's cold. But we're going to see what you are, whether you're warm or you're cold here. And then we're going to feel out the process, see if you produce. And if you do, we're going to give you a friendly contract. It's going to be great for you. You're going to make a ton of money, secure your future, all that. But it ain't going to be $9.5 million.
I love how they try to use Caleb Jones as leverage too, almost getting him, trying to bring both of them
then he gets
together.
hurt.
Yeah, and then
Then he gets
Caleb
hurt.
Jones is hurt, out of the lineup, never to
Yeah.
be seen. It's just how we do it in Chicago.
Yeah, and then we announce players are out of the game, and then they're playing in the game. What's
Yeah,
that
what
all
is
about?
this?
I don't like that very much. It makes me mad. I mean, honestly, like I have no idea if Kane's even playing in the game. Like Taves is in, I know because I saw him. I haven't seen Kane on the ice. I'm assuming he's not. Borgstrom, it doesn't really matter. But if I knew Taves is in, then I just wouldn't have touched the game at all. I wouldn't have bet anything on the game because I was like, Kane's still out. I don't know. Maple Leafs are bad. I just wouldn't have touched it. But I attacked this one early today, assuming that they'd both be out. Then it was announced that they were both out. Here I am, screaming for joy. And now I know, because like I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why are having the sports books completely change this number? Someone there knew. Oh, well, actually, it says Taves is out, but that's not right. That's not happening.
And it makes me laugh too. I saw this meme today. It was showing like a thing from Seattle, and it was like the menu at their arena, and it was like, for a water bottle at a Kraken game is $9, and now for a Blackhawks ticket it's $10.
Right.
Yeah, and no, just looking at their ticket prices too, they've just plummeted. And for anyone holding season tickets for them, like, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it'll come back around. There'll be a little bit of excitement. Maybe we get rid of Colleton. People start going nuts. I mean, that guy, their home opener, they're doing the staff introductions and the player introductions. And now your head coach, Jeremy Colleton. The entire stadium booed him opening night. Like, what else do we have to do? Like,
and you know
the board situation? You see the board situation? He just like hands the board to Taves. Like, here you go. Draw something up for the power play.
That's some like high school kind of thing where you're down like 6-0 in a game and you pass the board to the players and you're like, all right, I've got nothing. You guys draw something up. Because I've seen that play in high school hockey. But this is the NHL.
There's no, okay, here you go. And I mean, there's been some talk about it because some people are like, oh, well, like some people are saying like, oh, well, Taves grabbed it out of his hand. But all that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we would see kind of a bigger ruckus if that was the case. But you certainly don't see the captain on any team drawing it up. Like, okay, maybe, he wanted to have a moment or whatever, with the team. But typically that's like the assistant coach. Like, that's Mark Crawford territory. It's really easy. And that's not even just the Blackhawks. That's everywhere. That's everywhere. Assistant coach comes in, he's drawing up special teams play, penalty kill, power play, something off the face off, whatever. Like that's 99.9% of the time what's happening. So
and what's terrible too,
all that. What's that?
It's terrible too, seeing them getting booed off the ice in a lot of their games. It's just, it's hard to see being a fan.
They deserve it.
Like, because when I started watching the Blackhawks in 2013, I've seen like nothing but success when I started watching. 2 Stanley Cups in a few years there, and then they've just started to fall off. But I don't think they will ever be as low as they were, when you were growing up for a while, because I know they had their cold streaks then. But
we won games. We won games in 2003. All right, check the record. All right, call Tyler Arneson. He'll be able to tell you the exact number. I can't.
But
we won 27 games. It was fantastic.
But no, I think they're just on that downhill slope, and I think they do need a genuine rebuild, not this last-minute playoff push from Stan Bowman. Because you also wonder too, like Jeremy Colleton brought in as someone that's going to be like a rebuilder coach, and then it's like, all right, now we're getting Marc-Andre Fleury and Seth Jones overhauling our defense, and we want to make a cup run. And it's like, all right, is Colleton our coach that's going to make a cup run, or is he like the rebuilder coach? Like,
there's so much more experience, NHL experience in that locker room without Jeremy Colleton. Like,
exactly.
All of those players have played in more NHL games than him. They have more experience. They've all played in the playoffs. He hasn't. I don't even know if he's played over 50 games in the NHL. He's drafted in the same class as Brent Seabrook, and he just never was. Like, and I get that. If you can't do, you coach. And I don't have any like problems like that. Like, oh, you're a bad player, you're a bad coach. Like, no, like there's plenty of bad players that become great coaches. That's a big fact. You're not it, pal. Like,
right.
He doesn't have the respect of the locker room, the fans. I don't even know what he's still doing there right now behind the bench. But
and then there's.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's the whole thing too about how they were talking about how Jeremy's a good coach and Jeremy this, Jeremy that. Well, it's not too long ago. They were all dissing Jeremy. So I think they're just doing this so they don't get in the spotlight of like, oh, we don't like this guy. We want him out. Because there's already enough spotlight on the Blackhawks with everything going on right now. So I don't think the players want to add to any of that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just all talk. They're trying to be hush hush about all that stuff. You know, the less you say, the better in these circumstances right now, especially post game. So
exactly.
All right. Well, I got to head out. I'm going to get to watching these games. I'm going to go find a corner. I'm going to cry in it, and hopefully the Maple Leafs come back and I don't have to lose money. That's it.
Good deal.
Yeah. If the Blackhawks want to win, all right, cool, fine. You got to get a win. If you have to win so I can lose some money, then fine, Blackhawks. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Just go ahead and lose. No problem. All right. You got anything to close it down with?
No, just hold your doge, as Big Nick always says. He's not here with us again, but yeah, hold your doge.
Hold your doge. All right. Take care. Be well, everybody. Be good. Can't be good. Be good at it. Later.